Bones are amazing things. They hold us up, they support us, they make us strong. But bones have other uses. In the past, bones were thrown by diviners, seeking out the mysteries of the future. Now the bones are cubes, made of plastic or resin, but they still reveal things to us. As they fall from our fingers and rattle across the table, the story becomes clear. Welcome to Bone Throwers Theater, an RPG actual play podcast.
Hello and welcome back to another thrilling commentary on Bone Throwers Theater. This is Johnny.
And this is Jeremy.
This is Jeff. And I'm Aaron.
And this is Jordan. It's really hard to believe that this is the last commentary that we're going to do for this campaign.
Yeah, I'm almost sad not saying, and I was playing.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
But I think we've established by the montage, and we talked a little bit about in between the end of the last episode, that it's in a place where it could be picked back up at some point.
Yeah, easily. I feel like we could do a jump like 5 years in the future and see where these characters are.
Well, I mean, not even like you could
jump 5 months in the future.
Yeah, you could do 5 months in the future.
And go a completely different place.
That's the thing. I loved how each season was very distinct in this show.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first season was very much, okay, this is what we're doing to try and save the queen. Oh no, the bishop is wrapped into it too, and there's this mystery as to why and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, you were successful in saving the bishop, but then the queen got taken. And and Walsham got murdered.
And then each season there was a different level of things. And with this last series of episodes too, that we learned that there's yet another level that the characters are now tasked with, at least
trying to figure out
and think about what that means for their personal lives, or them personally, or things like that.
Jorus didn't look at any of those rooms.
No, Jorus did not. That's the odd thing.
For someone who's so much looking for the queen.
Well,
okay. I thought it was weird that he didn't look into any other rooms.
There was a main reason I didn't look in the room is that I wanted to check the circle, make sure it was actually a circle first, and make sure there was no guards, like nobody there that we had to fight in that circle.
Clear danger.
And then by the time I come back around to you guys, you are already opening the door at that point.
Yeah.
Which made me think, okay, they've already checked all these previous doors.
No, we just checked what?
I checked 1.
Grayson checked 1.
I checked 3.
And you said nope on the last
So, I mean, that's why I didn't...
On the last one, I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm interested to find out what the thought processes were behind some of these doors that we were looking into. And I'm scared to ask because that's diving into the mind of Jordan.
It's a scary place.
That's a scary place.
It's like, what's your worst fear type of thing.
That's what it seemed like.
It really is.
That's what I thought it was at first, but then there was the image that Demetrius had of Grayson. I was like, where did that come from?
Well, think about the relationship between Demetrius and Grayson.
Grayson and Demetrius were basically raised together to a certain degree, weren't they?
No.
That was Byram.
Oh,
yeah, that was
Byram.
Yeah.
I mean,
Demetrius has a business relationship.
With Demetrius, it was a business relationship, but it's probably been going on at least 2-3 years.
Yeah. So
it's been a long enough time that we know each other reasonably well.
And I mean, it's an odd relationship because how old is Demetrius?
26.
26, so it's like almost 10 years older. Yeah. So I mean, you would have met when he was like 14.
Yeah.
And this little punk kid comes in and
it's like, I want to be your business partner.
Store some illegal stuff in your shop, and you at 25 are like, okay.
Well, it was probably like, I need the capital because I'm starting up a shop type of deal.
Yeah. Well, it was that. It was
Grayson rolled high on his charmel.
I've been there before. I see this kid on the streets.
Okay, yeah,
I've
maybe
been there before.
Yeah, so that was just kind of driven because I wanted to put a little interpersonal.
So that was more of your biggest fear.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, a lot of the stuff that was happening in the rooms was what would be the biggest fears of these characters? So like the broken clock,
obviously,
we all know that.
Yeah.
And then Grayson seeing himself being mothered by a fae.
Well, okay.
A bit of a push for him.
Well, not really, because that's what Grayson had already expected in the Fae realm.
Right.
That's why he, as soon as he saw it, was like closed it and it's like, I don't need to look in any more of these rooms. I know what it's going to tell me. It's like it's more stuff that is going to try to tell me who I think I should be.
Right.
Which interesting thing, the room that Jorus and Grayson went into that had the figure that was dead, the head turned around backwards, that was
rotating faces.
Faces were changing to other, like that is sort of what made Grayson decide to do what he did at the end.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Oh, that's cool because I just put that in for fun imagery.
Well, because when he asked the Mistcourt King what of that was true, because in the back of his mind, he was thinking that, or the people that he's seeing that are in danger of dying, because the queen was in danger of dying, and her face kept showing up. So that's
And the barmaid was in the city that burned down.
Yeah, the barmaid was in the city that he recognized from the Seven Stars, and then Haley, and he was like, okay. Even though that he was on the mission, and I don't know if you noticed after that too, he was a little bit less hesitant about using his magic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I definitely noticed that.
Like when he came out of that room, he was just walking through, just like sleep. And it's like, and without hesitation, it was just like
knocking him down.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that. I thought it was more of a there's no hiding that you do magic once we all came to this realm.
Right, because now we all know that you're
part Fae.
You kind of, everyone in the group kind of accepted that I'm part Fae, but not magic.
Yeah.
You never really showed magic to them before.
Right.
I never, and it wasn't as like, oh, you're part Fae, you can do magic.
It didn't, that discussion never happened. It didn't.
Well.
So that's why I was saying right before we started recording this commentary, that the Oubliette was very, I think, emotionally charged for a lot of the characters.
And I think that's one thing that I always think is more effective than just throwing some random monsters in a bunch of rooms and then letting you loose on it. Yeah. It's like looking at the characters and saying what will affect them in some kind of emotional way. I might not know exactly what it is, but I do know how to push the characters' buttons. And I think that's an important thing that a lot of GMs don't really do. Mm-hmm. They don't try and push the characters' buttons. And you all say that I'm an evil GM and everything like that. That's
because we love it.
I know.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that a lot of times there's a difference between an adversarial GM and a GM who's trying to push the characters further. Mm-hmm. And I try very hard to make sure that I push you guys.
And also a difference between a GM that has loaded dice. Yeah.
It's okay. Johnny's guilty of it too. So.
I think Aaron joined my Dungeons and Dragons group, and I sat next to him, and I'm like, I just want you to see that my dice are not loaded.
And he only rolled 6 6s in a row. It really wasn't. It's not nothing that crazy.
I sat there and I rolled like the dice like 12 times.
Honestly, we said that. We joke about it because it just always seems when it's the most crucial that Jordan's like, oh look, I got a 6.
Oh look, another 6.
I got another 6. But
that's only when I announce it.
Well, thinking about the last session.
Yeah.
Last session, we, with the exception of I think Johnny, all of us were rolling exceptionally well.
Last session I was rolling
I was
rolling horrible last session.
Exceptionally well.
Yeah.
I think I rolled like 12 ones on my wild.
Like 30 plus.
Yeah.
A couple times in a row. I mean, that's...
And it wasn't even we get to roll 7 die. I think there was one time where Grayson was shooting, and at that point his crossbow was, I think, still 4D plus whatever, and he rolled like a 38 or something to hit or just something like that. It was like, oh my goodness. And then the next one was the same thing, and then the damage was through the roof. It was like, okay, we're just rolling exceptionally well at the right time.
It happens.
when it counts most.
I honestly was fully expecting us to go under this last episode. Mm-hmm. I was fully expecting us to just die in the process of saving the queen.
Well, I kind of figured that we wouldn't. knowing that this is going to be the last we visit these characters for a while, everybody was sort of willing to spend everything that they had to make sure they succeeded. We did that, I mean, before we started playing, we were like, all right, how many character points do I have and how many do I think I might need to spend, and I'm going to up everything that I can, and then have this much to spend to get rid of. So we kind of went in knowing that, we're going to throw caution to the wind and do anything.
On the other hand, I came into this expecting to sacrifice Benedict's life to save somebody.
Yeah.
That was my expectation.
But then that's
All
when Jordan
day
rolled
today.
poorly tonight, was when he was resisting damage.
Yeah, I
Every time-
honestly, I expected that same thing for Grayson. I was like, okay, Grayson is probably going to have to give up something that he's been holding on to in order for this to work. I mean, not thinking that it's not going to succeed, but it's going to be...
Well, in the way Grayson did, he gave up his secrecy of magic.
But did he?
Because
nobody
nobody
really
actually
questioned it.
saw it.
No, and
No,
no,
we all saw it.
We saw it, but we
You two
didn't
saw him
question it.
appear from being invisible.
We didn't. We saw him rush out from behind the tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was never acknowledgement of the sleep happening.
We just
You just kept going. It was
That-
full action sequence. at
like
that point.
Grayson in his mind at the point where he did the first 2 rounds of sleep on the second, the first level.
Second level?
The first ring.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the first
Right
level.
after
When,
the computer room.
yeah,
Yeah.
when he did the first round of sleep, he was at that point was like, all right, enough is enough. We just need to finish this. That's why he went through. It was just like sleep, and then was expecting to stand there and wait for everybody, and then he'd say, "What happened to all these guards?" Where his mind was at that point, seeing
Me.
I did it.
Yeah. Yeah. How did you guys like the computer room?
It threw me way off.
That was the first hint that it was like, we're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah.
yeah,
It made it very difficult to roleplay.
I mean, it did.
it did.
And we talked about this in between episodes one point, and I said something to the effect of, for us as people with technology and the concept of science fiction, it's not too hard to figure out how we would react to something from the future. But for that time period when they had no concept of science,
Yes.
hardly at all, not even as opposed to science fiction, reacting to that level of technology, and we alluded to that it's like, oh, it must be magic.
Yeah.
I even,
Which is where-
being in this time, find science to be wizardry.
Yeah.
Like half of it doesn't need.
The fact that you
Computers
can-
don't make sense.
The fact that you can talk to
It is
somebody
bad.
across the world without
love-
Nothing connected.
What I love was your descriptions of things
Yes.
in the machine room.
Absolutely
Where,
incredible.
yes, I love that portion where it's like, oh, there's this rope connecting these 2 things, and there's electricity going back and forth. At first, when you started describing, it's like, all right, what is he describing? Oh, a light bulb.
Yeah.
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 And then these thin layers of jade with silver and gold. It's like, oh, it's like a computer chip.
Yeah.
It's like a motherboard, circuit board.
Circuit board.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, and so then you heard me in the montage. It's like he's got a circle and a line through it. And I'm like struggling to try to come up with the same type of description of like the power symbol.
I didn't know what you were talking about. So Jordan does a better job of it.
Oh yeah.
So that's what they call in Apocalypse World terms barfing forth apocalyptica, which means just being super descriptive about what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And that's something that I always
But I
push for.
really like those descriptions.
Yeah.
Those are excellent.
Well, and also I had help with that. To be honest, the whole idea of a buried spaceship with torturers in it came from my favorite book series of all time, which is The Earth of the New Sun. URTH of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe. And it's all about this guy who is in the far future. It's so far future that the sun is dying and the world has gone back to a post-technological level. But he lives in a spaceship and he's a torturer for the crown. And so...
I'm writing that down.
yeah. It's available on Audible. You can listen to the series as audiobooks. It's great. Like the description of the guy, the torturers in the robes, not wearing a shirt with like black cloaks that don't cast any kind of shadows. That's directly from that book. And the idea that they live in a spaceship and the torture chamber is down in like around where the rocket propellant is and everything like that. The higher levels, like there's the cockpit at the very top of the spaceship, and they actually hear voices coming from boxes, and they don't know that it's radio technology communicating with spaceships that have left Earth and have gone out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's 100% science fiction, but it's written in a fantasy vein.
Yeah.
And so I stole a lot of my concept for the oubliette of aphonic excruciation straight from that.
I'm going to tell you, that part was completely frustrating.
Yeah.
Just trying to explain and communicate
Mimes.
not only in character, but as players too,
Yeah.
for the podcast, trying to
Yeah.
say what your character is doing, because your character can't use words. So you're like, and my character's like, and you're waving your arms around. I was like, oh, that does nothing for the people listening.
Yeah.
So how do I describe this?
Yeah.
So it's
He's
so hard.
motioning for him to follow, and he's using two fingers to look. And it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it made you think.
yeah, what? Yeah, it did.
Until we started writing.
Yes.
It made life so much easier again.
We've got a writing set here.
But even when we were writing, we still had to go back to describing our gestures and
Because, yeah.
what we were trying to get across
We're
with,
such a verbal
our-
species.
Yeah.
with our facial features.
Not only verbal species, but there was at one point, I think it was in episode where I just even blurted out, I was like, I hate you, Jordan. Yet again, the one thing Grayson is good at is persuading people with words. He couldn't do a thing. He couldn't speak. So,
Again, me taking away things that you love. You know, and again, making this whole experience very trippy and everything like that. I treat every RPG as if it's a horror session. Because honestly, you know, in character, you're not supposed to know what these things are.
Right.
You know, and so what's some of the most horrific imagery you can come up with is like your words literally turning into bloody mud.
that was probably the most horrific thing of this session, was when you first described that as a player, not even as imagining how Grayson would respond. As me sitting here listening to the description, I'm just like,
Yeah.
and I'm like shuddering myself. I'm like, gross.
Feeling the
That's
desire
disgusting.
to just upchuck everything you just eaten all day.
Yeah.
So was that a technology or a phase spell? Or was that something that...
Oh, I guess it was magic.
It is
like, I don't
a
really
side
know.
effect of the silence spell, I would think.
Yeah. It's like essentially your words coagulating.
So the silence is a spell.
See, that's what I was thinking. It was like, I was trying
I
to
figured it was
think
a
about that.
technology.
Or it's so far into the future that we consider it a spell.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's the thing. Just to mess with your mind, your mentor was going to be there. And then I decided, oh, your mentor is a fae who traveled back in time
Yeah.
and met you.
That's
got
why
that.
I kept saying,
Oh, back in time.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, I thought he traveled forward in time,
No.
and he was talking to me in the past. You know, like the room that I was in was a projection of him in the past.
It was his past, your present.
Okay.
But see, how could it be his past if he died?
He died in the timelines. Again, this goes back to the Book of the New Sun. This is something that I got from the Book of the New Sun. His character was moving along a timeline in the Fae realm. And then he re-entered the timeline through a mirror at some point later in history. Yes, the mirrors can allow you to travel through time.
Benedict can travel through time. Okay.
Demetrius is going to learn how to do that without the use of mirrors.
He meets you in the future and then travels back in time
Okay.
to discover you as a young boy.
Ooh.
So you're
Which
it's-
set me on the path to meet him in the future.
Yes.
Which made him wait, what?
Yes.
It's a causality loop.
It's a recursive loop, yes.
Yeah.
So, literally, at one point,
Benedict was rewriting his own history.
well, yes, but at one point while we were in the oubliette, I think it was when you were talking to, Benedict was talking to his master, and that's when I was like, wait, there's some weird time things
Yeah.
going on here.
Yeah.
At one point, because Jeff and I, before, it was like a week ago, we're talking about what to expect from this session. We joked about we're going to be our characters as ourselves and end up back in our realm, like with our former selves, and actually having to like do things without interacting with our former selves. And
Very,
then when
Back to
this
the
time thing
Future-esque,
came,
where he has to like run around behind his own back.
Yeah,
To
like
do
cleaning
things.
things up.
when this time thing happened with Brother Benedict's master, I was like, oh no, it might actually happen.
Have any of you guys seen the TV show Fringe?
Yes.
The first 4 seasons are a linear story, and then the 5th season is a time jump.
Yeah.
And part of it is that they're traveling between worlds, and that influences this big time jump. And that was kind of my inspiration to have the human realm and the Fey realm split into 2 alternate timelines, 2 alternate histories. So that was that part. And then I'm like, when I realized that the last season was set for a time jump, if we had continued on, that was what it was going to be. It was going to be a time jump 200 years in the future, where Dinium has been basically colonized as an Iberian town with a giant statue of King Carlo in the middle of the town, Carlo the Conqueror.
Plot twist, that's actually how the Riemann fire got put out.
Yeah.
Brother Benedict in the future went back to the past and put out the Riemann fire single-handedly.
No, like as far as the silence go, the way I explained that, at least to myself, was that the Banshee cast that silence spell on that entire thing on the ship as part of, like, they couldn't explain the technology because that's not anything related to Fey magic at all.
Yeah.
It's human technology.
Yeah.
And so they couldn't explain it all, and in order to keep people from exploring it and use it also as a torture chamber,
It's also...
No, hold on.
they cast that silence spell on it.
What if the whole concept of how the Riemann fire got put back? Because remember, one of the things the Oracle said was to unlock the human magic through technology. So what if it wasn't Brother Benedict that went back in time, but Demetrius?
Oh, yes.
And what I was going to say is, what if 3 of our characters learned how to time travel through technology, through mirrors, through just pure Fey magic?
Yes. It also seems like
Time clock.
like the Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Well, so I went back in time and I gave myself the key.
Human magic.
So it's similar to Brandon Sanderson's book.
Oathbringer.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
Big spoiler alert.
Yeah, the Voidbringers are not who you think they are for the first 2.5 books.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say, and it's been out for...
Since November of 2017.
So it's only 4 months.
Hello, future people. We have our own time loop going on.
Yes. All right. So, you know how it's almost like humans showed up on this Earth, on this planet where the Banshee and the Mistcorp were united, and then the humans united with one of the courts, and suddenly now the courts are divided.
Yeah.
I mean, very...
Humans are disruptive in this story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also the fact that somewhere along the lines, the humans and the Fae were of the same race. What we're getting now is a genetic drift between the two. Because, again, I decided that this was at the tail end of the Terra Proximus timeline, when all this was happening.
Yes. We kind of got that with your Easter egg of the feline-human hybrids.
Yeah.
Jeff and I looked at each other like,
Yeah. Yeah, so there you go. And also it explains why there were bull-headed minotaur men and a goat-headed man and a whole bunch of other weird animal hybrids that appeared.
Oh, true.
I really need to
And why they had magic.
Yep.
So the Fae are the future or the descendants of the mutated French flu.
And also, like, the Oracle is a part of the canopy that has gone forward in the future.
Lobo.
Our 2 campaigns, we linchpinned them together in one episode.
You have to be real fans to know both.
Yeah.
yeah, oh my goodness. It's
To
ridiculous.
listen to Terra Proximus, please visit bonethrowsphere.com.
I have to say I'm proud of myself for it.
So, Jordan, I have to say, Oubliette was a game changer for what my plans were for Grayson.
I'm glad.
Because one thing I was toying around with was Grayson actually, as Aaron suggested, deciding to stay in the Fey realm and see if he could track down his mother. But then the image of Haley almost being like, oh, she's in trouble.
Yeah.
And when we did the montage, there were some things I wanted to throw in there, but I couldn't figure out how to do it on the fly. So I was like, well, okay, it's late and my brain can't connect the dots in a way that would make actual sense.
Yes.
But now that I've had time to think about it, would have been cool to have a scene in there. One of the things I was contemplating doing was tying in the image that Demetrius had of Grayson somehow. Like as he's in his search, he walks past a mirror, and this would tie it like two plot points into there. We'll walk past the mirror, and out of the corner of his eye, get a glimpse of himself with like weird fang like teeth, and then turn and look, and it's him, like his regular face, but he sees for a split second, and then it vanishes an image of Walsham.
Yeah.
Like in the mirror. And then he turns around and he's not there. Would just be like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, and I had forgotten I had thrown in that scene with the carnivore teeth. Until later. It was really a throwaway scene, but it was really intended for Demetrius to see the face side of
Grayson.
Yeah. So that would have been a perfect tie-in.
Yeah.
So
Demetrius knew that's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that's why he was like, that doesn't mean anything.
Because, well, Demetrius had already come to that it didn't matter. Because
It didn't matter if he was Fey or not, because he's still who he is.
Right.
yeah, that's a good funhouse mirror image.
And also, he had already been faced with the broken clock thing, and he was like, the shop being burned down, that's just...
But I love how your character has changed, because if I had thrown in a broken clock at the very beginning of the campaign,
Oh, he would have totally freaked out.
he would have freaked just donkey balls, like all over the place. But the fact that he was able to hold it together and just go, that doesn't matter.
It's interesting because I think all the three, I think Jorus is the one that stands out as the one that hasn't changed.
The most single-minded.
The most single-minded. Like, Demetrius is now more loose. That doesn't matter.
Well, that goes back to when we were first coming into the Fey realm, and everybody saw those visions, going down the stairs. Jorus, when he saw his vision of him failing the queen, he refused. That made him even more singly focused.
Well, we alluded to it last time. Grayson also was refusing, but I guess it was for a totally different reason.
Yeah.
For the fact that we talked about last time that, this doesn't really change who I am.
Yeah.
My past is my past, and it may be something that I didn't think it was, but that doesn't change who I am. Right. But the whole Fey realm thing did change him a little bit. We already said Demetrius is more loose and is not so uptight about things being as they should be.
Timing is not everything.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Grayson,
that's not true.
Time travel is everything.
Time is not everything.
Time travel is everything. Grayson got very less secretive about who he was, and if it comes out, it comes out. I'm just gonna do. Yeah. I'm just gonna do me.
That is the biggest way that Grayson changed.
And then Benedict. I will have to say, Benedict from the very beginning was, this person, even though I'm against them, was very reluctant to do harm or damage to anybody. And by the time we got to the end, he's just like decapitating, just like, whack, just killing people like twice over with a single blow.
Yeah.
It was grinning when at the thought of dropping a glowing dude down a tunnel.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. It's a little dark.
He broke.
The guy that was freezing in the dome wanted to stay by his side and give him his last rites, and is now just like, this dude's dead. Kick him down the hole. And when Toad died, it was like, what are you doing? Searching his body. You're disgracing his body. He's like, this guy's dead. Get rid of him.
But he also showed a lot more respect for other people. Because he started off like really not caring about other people. He's in this very
he's
very
turned off.
very self-centered mindset.
Yeah, I was like,
I want food. I want women.
I want food. I want women. I want to be a priest. That's the three things that he wanted.
No, not a priest.
A monk.
Monk.
I wanted to be a monk.
That was very evident from the beginning.
But
a priest.
But he has totally changed his outlook in that he wants to be a leader of people. And he wants to be a uniter of people.
He still wants the women.
And in the end, he's in the priestly robes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ornate monk robes.
All right. We've been having a good time talking about this, but we got to wrap things up soon.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and discuss the role playing, the best role playing for tonight.
This one's tough because you couldn't really. You had to.
Because of the silence.
Because I will say it was a different type of role playing.
Yeah.
Relying less on how you expressed your character and how you chose them to do what they did.
I am going to vote for Demetrius. So in the past we've talked, last session I believe it was, we talked about Demetrius was broken and now he needs to be repaired. And I believe Demetrius got that reparation. And then even further into his montage, I think that really sealed the deal as far as how Demetrius was developing.
And not just
But as you
fix, but growing.
As
Yes.
you say that, that's the point where I would make that's not role playing. That's advancement of character. Like hands down, I would say Demetrius, the advancement of character.
Yeah.
I loved the role playing moment of you guys rushing in to check on the woman with the broken neck. I thought that was a great role playing moment.
Yeah. And Jorus trying to put her out of her misery.
Yeah, that was,
Which is one of the reasons I asked the question: can Grayson tell that person is not who the faces are saying who they were? Because if Grayson could not tell that, he was probably going to raise his crossbow at Jorus.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's like, wait, this could be the queen. This could be Haley. This could
be anybody.
Yeah. So what are you doing trying to kill this person?
Right.
Yeah.
well, yeah. I mean, the entire motivation behind the decapitation was make it so they cannot torture this poor soul anymore.
Right.
The body was dead.
As far as role playing moment, I mean, Benedict at the top of the hatch with the dead body. Dude, I mean, that was a great role playing moment.
And he wasn't nodding and grinning because dropping the dead body. He was nodding and grinning because he knew that, all right, so at the top of the hatch, if anybody tries climbing out of the hatch, we have best position to just start clubbing them in the head. But it looked a lot darker than it actually was.
This is because you couldn't verbally communicate.
Right. He knew that this was the best position for us to fight in.
Yeah, and that was my entire thought process.
Right.
I will say also in the library, that was a good role playing moment.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, that
yes,
was
it
good.
And in the computer room, like just figuring it out. And
Well, the computer room, yeah. I mean, I will say, from my vantage point, even though it was the toughest thing to do, I enjoyed the computer room trying to roleplay Grayson in that room. Especially the moment where he's like, I recognize this queen. Let me think about... Wait, what just happened? Why is this what I was thinking about? Now the only thing in this room.
Right.
Yeah, so that was fun doing. I think there was another good role playing moment between Demetrius and Benedict when Demetrius was tinkering with the stuff that he shouldn't have been tinkering with.
I was tinkering with things because I was just like so absorbed with these new
gadgets.
whatever they are.
What's its
You were literally one
what's its
roll
nuisance?
away from either electrocuting yourself or setting off.
And that's another description I love. And one of those things bit you. I was like, oh, it shocked him.
Yeah. That was. I was like, oh, it shocked me. I don't know that it shocked me. It bit me.
I'm not the.
So that also made me think, with all the flammable pipes and stuff, is Riemann fire actually like jet fuel?
Yeah, we can say that.
Yeah, of some sort. A little bit more advanced than jet fuel.
I mean,
but,
at
I mean,
least
it's Riemann fire, not Banshee fire.
right. So it came from the humans.
Yeah.
I mean, in the 1980s, our atomic weaponry was still powered by liquid propellant.
Yeah.
There was an accident where a wrench got dropped while they were trying to fix one in Arkansas, punctured the liquid propellant, and like 24 hours later, it exploded, and it basically threw a nuclear bomb out into the middle of a field, and it did not go off, thank God. But yeah, I mean, so like liquid propellant is still used and everything. So I mean, Ream and Fire could definitely be something of that nature. Because I mean,
I know when you came with Ream and Fire, you weren't that far advanced.
No.
plot.
Ream and Fire was supposed to be Greek fire.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So,
Which
but the same
Greek
idea.
Fire was very similar to liquid propellant.
Yeah.
I have a revolutionary idea for best roleplay. Jordan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ability to roleplay my master, the Queen, Lord Cheddar, Adrian Moore,
King Aiden.
I mean, all of those combined. King Andrus.
Yeah. Andrus. The computer.
The computer.
Enter query.
That was another good scene. I liked the response to Grayson's question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a personal answer for myself right now. Don't worry about other people. Worry about you.
So my vote's for Jordan.
Yeah. With the description of everything as well, which was really great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Give yourself a character point.
If I had a character, I would.
You have all the
All the
characters.
accomplishing their goals. Well, like we said, Jorus definitely did.
He accomplished his goal.
I mean, I think
Hands
all the
down.
well, obviously, since we had that montage, all the characters have advanced in one way or another. Accomplished his goal, is now the head spy, is now monitoring the two characters that he
knows about.
Knows exactly where they're at.
knows about. So he advanced.
Yes.
Benedict has now a huge following
Of both
of both
human and fae.
human and fae.
Interspecies following.
That's right.
We've already said Demetrius fixed himself. Looks like going to be the new tech whiz of his time.
Yeah.
And Grayson finally has, I think, totally just accepted who he is, even the past that he had no knowledge of.
Yeah.
If you think about it, is now taking advice other than doing his own thing. Because
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a big step for him.
yeah,
That's a very big step for him.
However, actual session before montage, Jorus, I would say, had most advancement because
Rescued the queen.
only
Only goal.
He accomplished his only goal.
but who rescued the queen?
Who got her up?
That's only
all
because you
the way
had
to the-
teleportation.
she was almost dead when he got back to her after you teleported.
Man, if you didn't have sleep
But
or teleportation,
She
if he
probably
didn't have
would
heal-
have been dead if Grayson hadn't, because Jordan said she was about to go limp.
Yeah. Another source for inspiration for the especially magic as technology was a movie I just saw, an anime movie called Mary and the Witch's Flower. And I got to see it through Fandango, but it's all about this girl who goes to a witch's school and there's all this technology going on. Like there's like a guy riding around on robots and stuff like that in the magical school. And there was like an interview with the professor or the director at the end of the movie, and he's like, "Yeah, I wanted a magic is sufficiently advanced technology." So that's another thing that grabbed my attention and steered me this way. So it's a good kids movie. I'd recommend it.
Let's talk about that. Stargate.
Yeah, and Stargate too.
Yes, they did.
Snacks.
Like we said last time, there was a lot of swings and misses. Today, everything hit.
Oh, out of the park.
I mean, we
home
had
runs across the board.
Johnny got a nugget tray from Chick-fil-A, but they had their new sriracha sauce that those
Sriracha
as soon as we started, within 5 minutes they were almost
I don't even think we had gotten
They were
our
gone before we
first.
started recording.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like, I remember standing there and eating like 10 in a row, just like dipping them in the sauce. It's like,
And then Aaron had the jalapeno bacon
Cheddar cheese ball.
cheddar cheese ball, which
Oh my
I could
gosh.
not keep myself from going back to.
So good.
Like every time I got up and said, I need something to eat. Oh, there's that cheese ball. Let me go back to it. It was great.
So good.
And then the peanut butter mousse cake. I didn't break that out until like after we had filled ourselves on everything else. And then as soon as I broke it out, 5 minutes, it's gone.
It was good.
I gotta say though, the apples were probably the winner for me.
And to listeners, I know that sounds really odd. We just list all this stuff. I liked the apples. No, you don't know. So these apples weren't just apples. These were apples that were like so
paper thin.
thinly sliced, and then they were rolled with peanut butter and drizzled with chocolate. And my God, I don't know what it is about. So peanut butter for me is always gonna do.
Yeah, but peanut butter and apples is just a special combination.
And so it was a quote unquote healthy snack, even though I ate like 6 of them.
Yeah,
So
it's like mouth adultery.
oh man, apple slice so thin. Oh man. Yeah, that's my vote. That's my vote.
Are they all gone?
Yeah, they're all gone.
There might be one up there still.
I think there's a couple.
I think there's one.
They're all gone.
Jordan is seeing in the future now. They're all gone. Five minutes into the future.
I live in the gluttonous future. All right, folks. Well, we do not know what's coming next on Bone Throwers Theater. We're going to be taking some time to go circle the wagons, and we're going to be playing a game of Microscope to determine our next storyline, and then what our group will be playing after that will be emerging from that. So you will most likely be hearing us
Shortly.
Yeah.
Next week.
Next week. Next time we will have an entirely new campaign world set up. We'll have new characters. We were talking about shifting away from mini 6 and going to straight open D6. A little more complexity, and also the magic system. It's a little
more fleshed out.
It's also a little bit more customizable. Mm-hmm. Like you can do some customization with it. So if you want to make something very specific in your spells, you can definitely do that. So I think that's where we're heading in the near future. But I gotta say, guys, this has been a real treat. I've really enjoyed this.
Oh, yes.
And I want to say a special thanks to Jeremy, because this wouldn't have ever happened except that Jeremy emailed me one day and it's like, look, dude, I really want to do this again. And I really want to say thank you for doing that, because these gaming sessions have been some of the best times that I've had in the past year. And I really do mean that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Jeremy does all the editing for you folks that don't know.
Yeah, Jeremy does all of our technical stuff.
What's that? No. So if it's wrong, blame him.
Yeah. I mean, we're in discussions about how we're going to move forward in terms of technology as well. So things might sound totally different when you hear us next time. You just never know.
It might sound a bit magical.
It might. All right, hey, it's so much 8:00 that we're all punch drunk, so I'm going to go ahead and close us off here. But thank you so much for listening, and again, we wouldn't have anything without you guys, so we do appreciate all the love that you send us. Have a good one. Thank you for listening to Bone Throwers Theater. Our cast is Aaron, Jeff, Jeremy, Johnny, and Jordan. We are releasing this podcast under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 3.0 Unported license. That means that you can share the podcast, but please do not modify it or try to gain financially from it. If you would like to visit our website, you can do so at bonethrowerstheater.com. If you would like to send us an email, you can do so at bonethrowerstheater@gmail.com. Our Twitter handle is @bonethrowerstheater, and also you can look us up on Facebook. And until next time, may the bones fall ever in your favor. This has been a Nerd Circle podcast production.